In this video, I'm going to talk about Elliott wave theory. I'm going to go over what it is, the 5 waves, and how I use it to trade. And I'm just going to try to keep it very simple and not going to go super far into depth on ABC pullbacks and lengths of runs and how the Fibonacci retracement and Fibonacci extension play into it. You can go and look into all that. It can be very detailed and very specific. And I do use the Fibonacci extension for some of the wave calculations. I'm not going to go into all that. What I'm going to go into is how to keep the Elliott waves simple and how to see them very easily on the charts. The wave theory does not play out in the charts that often perfectly, but you can see traces of the waves if you go through and you look at a bunch of pairs and different time frames. The theory does work, and you can see the 5 waves in very healthy trends. If there's a lot of consolidation or it's not a healthy market, they're not going to play out perfectly. So there's not always an Elliott wave in the trades that I take, but one of the most simple forms of the Elliott wave I almost use in all my trades. So that's what I'm going to go over. The Elliott waves are based on 5 runs and pullbacks. So the first run, I'm just going to draw some lines to represent the runs. This is the first run. So this would be, say you have a trend and this is a breakout. This is a new movement out of a previous pattern or a previous trend or consolidation, just something where it breaks out of a trend line or it's continuing a trend out of a consolidation period. And I'll go over an example in the charts, but this is the first run. The second wave is going to be a pullback. So you have first run, second pullback. So first wave, second wave. The third wave is the one that I target the most, and it is typically the longest wave. And like I said, I'm not going to go into the Fibonacci extension tool, but you can use a tool to calculate profit targets for the third run. The fourth wave is another pullback. And then the fifth and final wave is the last wave in the theory. It doesn't always play out this way in the market, but that is the theory. And this is obviously a bullish market, so the trend is up. You can also use the waves in the opposite direction. Obviously, a bearish market, these waves play out the same way. It's just obviously it's going to be trending down. So it'd be first wave, second wave, third wave down, fourth, fifth. So I hope you get the point, but this is the most basic form of Elliott waves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 waves. So then after this, you can get into ABC patterns, and the pullbacks can be complex pullbacks where there's A, B, C within the runs, but I'm not going to focus on any of that right now. How I use the Elliott waves the most is right here, though. First wave is a breakout. The second wave is a pullback, and then I target the third long wave. So, for example, here on this daily chart, you could say this is a pattern right here, or actually this is just for example purposes. I did not take any of these trades, but let's just say this is a pattern, it's trending down, and you could say this was a breakout, pull back, and then target the third wave, fourth wave pullback, and now it's starting the fifth wave. I typically target this pattern on the lower time frames for actual trade entry. So let's use this as an example. Here's a trend line. This is on the 1 hour chart. And so if I was looking at this trade on the daily chart is where I make the main decision on what pairs I want to get into, and then I drill down to the lower time frames to confirm trend changes and enter trades. So let's say I'm looking at Euro Yen long. So I'll go down to the 1 hour chart, and this would be the first wave breakout, second wave pullback, and then target this third wave. Let's find another example. Say I'm over here and it's this day right here, and I'm looking for a short. Here is a horizontal support and resistance line. It broke out right here. This would be wave 1. Wave 2 pullback, target this third wave, and then fourth wave, fifth wave. So as you can see, the 5 waves don't always play out perfectly in the markets, but I like breakouts and pullbacks, which in theory is just a wave 1, wave 2 pullback, wave 3 you're targeting the longest run. So that is the main theme of Elliott Wave theory that I use in all my trades. Is on the lower time frames to get into trades, I wait for a breakout, pullback, and target that third run. So let me try to find a more real life example, and I will get right back to you. Okay, so I wanted to find a real life example that was recent. It was hard to find a perfect one, but what I wanted to really show is, again, what I use the Elliott Wave mainly for is that first wave breakout out of this trend line, pullback, and that's where I entered this trade, is after that pullback. So in hindsight, this would have been a better pullback, but at the time of the trade, this is what I saw, and that's what I traded. So that is the most basic form of how I use Elliott Waves, is on the lower time frames when I'm trying to get in on a trade. It's a break and retest. And so that is the first wave, second wave, and then I'm targeting that bigger third wave move. Again, this is a US dollar CAD 1 hour chart. This is where I do my trade sizing. So this is a healthy downtrend, and this trade was a 45 pip stop, and targeting 245 pips for roughly 5.5%. And this was a real trade, and it did close out for 5.5% profit. And like I said, the Elliott wave did not play out perfectly. We don't have a perfect wave 1, wave 2, 3, 4, 5. But the entry was after the wave 1 and wave 2, theoretically. So I always wait for a breakout and retest whenever I'm entering a trade. And that is the element of the Elliott wave that I use. So that is pretty much it for Elliott waves. Like I said, you can get into much more detail about the targets for profit and the pullbacks and complex pullbacks and ABC patterns, but this is the main, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The element I use is when I enter trades, I wait for a breakout and retest, and then that's the strongest move is that third wave. And like that US dollar CAD pair I just showed you, my profit target didn't go up perfectly in a wave 3 on the 1 hour chart, but it still utilizes that break and retest theory in the Elliott wave. So that's the main way that I use Elliott waves, and I was just showing that they go along with a break and retest strategy on entering trades on the lower time frames. So I hope that helps y'all understand Elliott waves a little more and how I utilize a portion of the theory in all of my trades. So I hope that helps. If y'all have any questions, feel free to comment below and I'll be happy to help.